They just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, every single day, without question. Please watch the first two episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Hey everyone, it's Monday, it's history, and this is what we'll be talking about tonight. Loads of history. Anyway, I'm just going to thank the sponsors of the podcasts. And it's the wonderful Gap Painting Services. Listen, get them in. Don't struggle decorating this Christmas. They're fully insured. They're all time-served lads, so they know what they're doing. They come in. You tell them what you need to, and it's as simple as that, and they'll do it. And they're brilliant at it, believe you me. First class. As I said, they're fully time-served lads. There's no cowboys on the job. That's what it is. That's all it boils down to. Less cowboys, more professional lads in, and get them in because they're absolutely brilliant. If you're an elderly couple, if you're an NHS worker, you get special discounts. Even if you're not one of those. Get them in, get a price off them without any obligation whatsoever. Any obligation. If you say yay, great. If you say no, well, they just walk away and say, thanks for calling us. That's what they're like. Great people. And they're the sponsors of every Frank Carlyle podcast. So what have we got tonight? Got a moan. I've been waiting for him to phone. He says, I'm going to phone you there. I'll phone you later on. This is Thursday. I've been sitting with my phone since Thursday, waiting for the call. No call. But anyway, he's still a moaner. We all moan, don't we? But before I get on to me very good mate, just see what you're saying here. Edwards, big up on 1K. Do you know what? I always watch this year on Alex Christopher, and he's even saying, he's got a massive following, and I'm talking thousands. And he even said, he's been saying it now for a couple of weeks, that YouTube are taking away subscribers. And I thank you, Edward, for that, but I should have a lot more than that. And this is what we've been doing for, I think, a year. We've been saying the same, Jason and myself. They're up there, then all of a sudden they're dropped. And this is going on, unfortunately. And Edward says, hello, Frank and Anthony. The lovely Ellen, ambidextrous. Good evening, Frank, Anthony, and you lovely chatters. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Isn't that nice? Christopher. Hi, Frank, and everyone, like and subscribe. So what have we got tonight? We've got, I've got my mate on with me, great fella. I was only joking before. And we'll be talking a lot of history. A lot of history. I'm going to bring them on now. See if he's woken up. Because he is always asleep, Are you happy?
I just woke up.
What you doing? Was you in that storm? Did you have that storm, Amy?
Storming Amy. I tell you what, I saw it from out the window. That's as far as I wanted to go.
How was your trees? They weren't damaged at all, were they? Because you've got beautiful trees in your garden.
There's a lot of them in the area, Frank. Because obviously, even the Victorian houses were built in the middle of what would have been a wood. So there's normally always one or two that go. But the church across us, where we sit in the garden and have a cuppa, they've lost about 4 over the past year. Big, like hundreds of years old trees. So it's a scary one if they fall.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
because your ones are big. Even the squirrels are there, aren't they?
Yeah.
And
the doves.
It could either fall on your big wall.
Yeah.
It could fall on the cars.
Yeah.
Tom's and Laney's, or it could fall on the bloody house.
Yeah.
I was going to ring you actually to say if everything was all right. But I didn't. I said, "Oh, shut up." You know what I mean?
Well, I dare if he died.
Yeah. Well, anyway, everything's okay. And Jason says, Amy brought the last of my pears down, saved me getting the. Oh, go away. Because he's got pears, he's got everything.
Yeah.
Do you know what he grows as well? You're not going to believe this. He grows jars of jam.
Yeah.
He brought me down a jar of jam.
That's brilliant.
It was nice. He makes his own jam.
Will be, because it'll be real. How to sift everything. Yeah. Our Emily is taken to that. She does all that stuff. Yeah.
And do you know what else he brought me? A little thing of apple crumble.
Oh.
Honestly. Jesus.
That is the greatest pudding in the world, isn't it?
Known to man.
Yeah. Whatever you have, apple crumble and custard.
Apple crumble. You're right, though, aren't you? You're right. Go for me flu jab on Wednesday. Francine's picking me up. I'm going for that. Then, do you know where else I'm going? She said, do you want to go to the market up, by Liverpool's ground? There's a market there.
Oh, good.
So she's bringing me up there. So I said, yeah, okay, just have a
nice one.
At least, there's been no storms. I just hope it's some rain or I won't go anywhere.
No, I think we're on the on the closure of that storm. I don't know what the weather plans for the week. It's going colder and stuff. It rains and
I know. That's why I've got bloody thing on.
That danger in driving around and stuff.
Yeah.
Do
you know what? Do you know when you get a shave?
Yeah.
and a nick to you. You know, the bottom of my earlobe. They're horrible. You know, like you get stings all the time. You only got to touch you, mad sting.
That's what Vincent van Gogh did, and look what happened to him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was mad, that. You know, talking about Van Gogh. And he cut his own ear off, didn't he?
He did, or just the tip of it. It could have been shaven.
Oh, yeah. Like
Just the
me.
tip of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, he did. The guy was. I love him. I love his work. I love his attitude. I love his philosophy. But we all struggle at times, and that was definitely a bad time for him. But in the last couple of weeks of his life, like the last month, he painted about 120 canvases, and some of them are now acclaimed as the greatest artworks in the world. Just strange.
I've got to admit, and I have told you this before, I don't like Van Gogh.
Yeah.
I don't like his work, that's all. And that's me. I don't like Picasso either.
Yeah.
I don't like his work. They're not for me, if you know what I mean.
They were pushing boundaries, the two of them really. They weren't going to settle for something that everyone else was doing, and I like that, and we aspire to that, as everyone's aware with literature. They were doing in art what our great.
But when I mentioned before about, I'll just see what these are saying. When I mentioned before about, like my algorithm should be way above what it is now. And Jason and I were saying for a long time that, they are taking away the subscribers. And I think it's because it's, they look at subscribers and say, well, all right, and they've just subscribed and they don't even bother watching, the streams. So I think they take them away to see if you subscribe again. But because honestly, it should be well up there. It should be well up there. And as the ambidextrous says, Helen, YouTube doesn't like the F word. So they don't like the Francis word or the Frank word, then, do they?
The French.
Or the French word, yeah.
Never mind, yes.
Good grief. Anyway, Lynn Ellis, she says, good evening, Frank and Anthony and chat. I hope you're all well.
Oh, good evening, Lynn. I'm okay. I've just got to rise above my beautiful friend there taking a pot shot at me because I fall asleep every 5 minutes. But yeah, we're good. Hope you are too.
And Stephen Mulholland's good friends of mine, Steve. Hi, Frank and Anthony.
Hi, Stephen.
Do you know where he goes? Where? And he only goes on his own. He goes to Cuba. He said it's fantastic.
Wow.
Because he likes going around, the old buildings and things like that,
Yeah.
That's what Stephen does, Steve.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. We've got to find our peace where we can, haven't we?
Yeah, of course.
More and more the circus goes on.
And Jason says, apparently when he cut his ear off, he went blind. His glasses kept falling off. That's shocking, that, isn't it? Fancy him coming out with jokes like that.
It is shocking, but it's probably right as well. Yeah.
That's why I keep my ears on myself, and usually the same.
Oh, well, I'm
Gary,
planning one eye, deaf in one ear, but thankfully they're not. They're on alternate sides. Gary,
Gary Rigby, even if Frank and Anthony, what's tonight's subject? Well, we just do a certain subject, Gary, and then we go on to other things, like the score with us. You know what I mean?
yeah.
You just got to listen to see what we're going to talk about. Buonasera, Franco, Anthony, and chatters. I've liked, says Toscana. Thank you, Toscana. Yeah,
Thank
I can see the one light. Just the one light. And Christopher says, I am me.
Hi, Christopher. That's a chirp here. Hello. Yeah. Hope you're good.
No, here's a fella who's like us. And it's Gary. He said, Anthony, I can't sit down without falling asleep, especially after my tea.
You know what, Gary? This is the great man there, and I have discussed this because if you eat before you have to do something, give a talk, play a gig, whatever, oh, you're gone.
You're gone because you become very lethargic, especially me.
Yeah.
I've gone out without breakfasts and everything, especially when I'm doing a coach tour or a walking tour. And at lunchtime, we always stop for lunch. Would you like some lunch with us, Frank? No, thanks. Yeah. I'll have a cup of tea, though, but no foods whatsoever. It's like now, I had a cup of tea just before coming on, and a biscuit. But if I eat anything, substantial, I'm finished. I'll be just going. And I've done that before, I remember having a sort of a meal before I came on one show. And I was actually going. I was going. I think you and Derek was on. And you were chatting, the music, when we were doing the music thing. And I was actually going, really going. And that's the problem I've got. Problem with Gary's got. The problem with you as well.
Yeah.
And Gary says, if I nods off for 5 minutes, it gives me a headache. Then I'm all groggy.
No.
Is that after you drank the grog?
Yeah. But those 5 minutes are fantastic for me. 5 minutes and I'm working. I used to do it in the studio, when we're in town. And I'd sit down when you're looking at something and you're thinking, is it finished? Is it not? You're scrutinising. I'd sit down with a cup of tea, turn the phone off, and just look at what I'm working on. And doze off. Wow, I'm gone. And then I'd wake up and I've still got the cup of tea. Not a drop spilt.
So you're like a sculptor.
And then that's it. Then I'm kind of wired for the rest of the session.
It's nuts, isn't it? Really, when you come to think of it, it's. But it's the way it is. It's. Food, is a funny thing because it's nourishing the body, but the body obviously is like. Shall we say? I'm not saying breaking down, but it's giving you that all relaxation, after feeding the body, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's comfort.
And then it gets to you. Yeah, of course. And once you become comfortable,
gone.
I want to say to Franco and Anthony and everyone, Paul as well, says the lovely Bella.
Good evening, Bella.
And Gary says, forget trying to watch a film at my age. I've done that loads of times, honestly. I've done it over the weekends, actually, watching something and the next, you know. It was on another thing.
Yeah.
And the lovely Ellen says, I suppose I'd better give yous a like then after my first comment. So you never get, you see, no one likes. No one gives a like for some mad thing, you know, some mad reason. You know, you could come on and comment, but they forget to like. And it's just for the algorithm, really. And Toscana says, is it more carbohydrates that make you lethargic?
Yeah, that's part of it. Toscana, yeah. So food chain. Yeah.
But there we go, you know, we're being told now about sleeping, and I just don't eat. I just do not eat. After especially doing a pod like this. Anyway, I'm gonna put this up.
Ah, one of the jewels in Liverpool's crown. Beautiful.
Now, one of our people who come on, Pac on. I always forget his name. Well, anyway, it's Pac.
Chan.
Chan. Thank you. And he took that. Isn't that fantastic?
Amazing.
Look at the sky. Look at the background.
Yeah.
Look at the detail.
Yeah.
The detail is magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. And you know what? Let's see if there's any more.
That's the largest outside China, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And don't forget that it was made in Shanghai.
Wow.
And it was brought over in pieces. And the Shanghai lads, you know, the Chinese, built it up.
Wow.
For our China. You know, it deserves it because it's the oldest ethnic community in Liverpool. The oldest.
It's such a beautiful part of town. And this photograph.
And friendly.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a friendly.
Because you can imagine the full whack of colour that emerged from the Chinese settlers.
Yes. And as Gary says, the oldest Chinatown in Europe yet. We were last to get an arch. Typical. And it was only because of the the people in Shanghai, they presented it to us.
Yeah.
Obviously, they found out that we were the oldest.
Yeah.
And the first ethnic people in
wasn't it around millennium? The millennium that it came. It's like it's just a wonderful breath of fresh air in Liverpool. You know,
I used to always go down for the New Year, in the February.
Yeah.
Always went down there. Yeah. And it was brilliant. But they never had street food or anything. It was just like the celebration. Yeah. Now they've got street food. I can't even bloody go.
Yeah.
I'd love to have gone to that. I really would have loved to have gone down there and tried the street food and that.
Oh, be amazing, wouldn't it?
I'll have to go one One time.
We'll have to go. We'll have to find somewhere safe to park. We'll pick you up and get to. We used to go when the kids were little. We used to go, and they were amazed to
Yeah.
see, obviously, and we were to
Yeah.
see the dragon dances and stuff.
Yes. The likes of that. Kids are made up with that. But the grown-ups are as well.
Yeah,
The dragon. And
Yeah.
George says, good evening, Frank and Anthony. Just in from work and having my dinner and cream cracker. Well, if you were to listen to us before, we can't have anything to eat or we become lethargic and fall asleep. Could you imagine doing that on here?
well, he can do that. He's amongst good company.
Yes, absolutely.
Good evening, George.
Absolutely. Let's see what else is here. Look at that.
Ah, that's beautiful, isn't it?
Isn't that brilliant?
On the ferry.
Yeah. Isn't that brilliant?
Yeah,
And black and white.
yeah, yeah. I do like black and white photography. It's got that timeless quality, hasn't it?
Yeah, it is a timeless quality. It is because, and you get the sharpness also, don't you?
Yeah, and the mood, you know.
Because you've only got to look where the fella is, and just above him, the rails and the rope there. That's all sharpness. Fantastic. That. Love that.
Love it.
And look at that.
Wow.
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah.
But you know what? You know that I don't like this. It's in the wrong place, that museum.
Yeah.
I've always said it.
Do you know
I've
what?
said it. Go on.
I've never been in it. I've been in to the cafe, took the kids in for a cup of tea, but I've never been round the museum.
Well, I've been in a few times. I went and got invited down to the opening, and I was standing outside, and there was this lady talking to this lady, and she didn't know who I was, so I was just standing outside, and this lady was there. She said, "Do you like those buildings there?" And they're the black granite ones.
Yeah.
And I said, I despise them. And she went, "Oh, good." She said, "So, I'm not the only one." I said, "No, there's a lot of people. They should never have been there." I said, "And as for this thing here, this should never have been here. This should have been put up further up.
Yeah.
Or found somewhere in town." I said, "This is the wrong place to have it." And she said, "Well, I don't mind this." I said, "No." I said, "What it is," I said, "if you go into the Maritime Museum, what you used to do, you could look over on the Mersey and see right up to Liverpool Bay without any obstruction. You go up now, you can't see the Mersey. That blocks it out." And you know what she said to me? "I'll go and have a look." And she looked for me. She actually looked for me. She said, "You're the gentleman I was talking to?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "I went up to have a look over the Mersey." She said, "And you're right. You can't see nothing." I said, "Well, there you go." So it's... see, we have wonderful buildings. Do you ever remember the arch where it was the most photographed part of Liverpool by the Albert Dock there? And there's a massive arch, and everyone took photographs.
Yes.
Photographs of the Port of Liverpool, the Liver, and obviously in the middle, the Cunard. And it was the most photographed with the likes of the Albert Dock on the left. But you had the arch, it was, brilliant photos, no matter who took them.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is, all that stopped because of the black granite buildings and this.
Yeah.
You
I
can't see them. They're
I
all
took
blocked up.
some 2005, 2006 were the last times you had a clear view. And again, Lainey and I used to take this long before I moved into the black buildings, but that's the last time you had kind of a clear view.
Yeah.
And yeah, so for 20 years it's been gone. Wow. Or construction going up and down. No, I it, it's painful really that sometimes the new works with the old, and when it does, it's wonderful. But when it
Yes.
doesn't,
Yeah. Stephen
yeah,
Mulholland says, I usually go to Chinatown for the Chinese New Year on the Sunday. That's
yeah,
when we went to stay.
yeah.
I used
Us,
to go down there.
yeah,
Gary says, lovely shot. I love going on the ferry. I miss the Royal Iris.
yeah. That was absolutely a piece of history, and it was just left discarded in London.
Thing is, you see, you know why they got the prefix, don't you, of the Royal? The daffodil and the iris.
Yeah,
Do you know why they got the prefix?
I don't know, Frank. But no,
Well, I'll surprise you anyway.
come,
And it was Edward VII, and what it um, was during World War One, and shipping were getting torpedoes left, right, and centre, torpedoed. So what they did, there was a big plan, by the British military to
yeah,
go and try and get these U-boats, blow them up. So anyway, he was trying every conceivable way to get through a boom, these big booms to keep out the likes of ships or enemy ships, put it that way. And none had got over the boom. I'll try and give you the thing. There's the boom. Yeah, let me take this off a moment. Just a moment. There's the boom here, right?
yeah.
So you get the ships, but the ships were getting stuck. And then, with them getting stuck, they either had to get away or they were blown up. And some, I don't know who it was. I forget who it was. Some mariner had said about the ferries, the Liverpool ferries have got a flat bottom. So they said, well, all right, let's try. So they got the ferries, and as they just went over the boom.
No
They went
problem.
over the boom, the big net. And
Yeah.
it brought these commandos,
Oh,
and they blew up these submarines in Zeebrugge, by the way. They blew up these untersea boot, which is the U-boats. When it got back, there was 11 Victoria Crosses given out to these commandos. 11 Victoria Crosses. And the king said, we should put a royal on the two, which was the daffodil and the iris, on these ferries. So they became the royal iris and the royal daffodil, just like, the Queen's or King's yacht.
fantastic. And why would he, in modern times, leave the Iris down in London. Some
Well,
supposedly bought it.
well, what had happened was we sold it off, and
Oh,
this fella, he wanted 2 million quid for it. Who owned it? Some Londoner, And I said at the time, wouldn't you think the likes of McCartney would buy it and bring it back
yeah,
and let it get done up? But
yeah,
it's rotted that much.
yeah.
I think Paul's. This is just my opinion. I think Paul's had a look at it, got a surveyor and whatever, and they've said it's a waste of time. Cost millions to do it up, and it's just rotted away.
I think it's unbelievable that it was sold in the first place with that heritage, with that history.
And you've only got to look at the cavern, haven't you? That says it all.
I was part of a band and a series of bands who went to London to play on the Iris. And I think the hope was at the time that it was coming back to Liverpool. Yeah. This is about 83.
Yeah. And that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
They couldn't even tow it, it's that badly damaged. And the Beatles actually played on that Iris. As you know, you should know that.
Yeah.
And Jason says, agree. That's in the wrong place. The contents and the displays are good, though. I love the fact that it's all local. That is
the museum.
The museum. But he agrees that it's in the wrong place. And Stephen says, I always preferred the old Liverpool Life Museum. So did I.
I used to like that, Stephen.
So did I, mate. So did I.
It was part of the dock that, or seemingly wasn't out of place. It was just there.
Yeah. And Bella says, Franco, do you know what the colours on the Chinese arch mean? I know they symbolise something. They symbolise China itself. It symbolises the history, colours on different places. Different places. It's just like the flags here, you've got the Welsh flag, the Scottish flag, the Irish flag, and the English flag, and it combines all into one, like Union Jack, if you like. So that's what it symbolises, different parts of China. And Tuska, I agree about the black and white photography. You also don't have the distraction of the colours, so you can see the photo as the photographer intended. Yeah. Yeah. I've got me when I made my communion.
Black and white.
Standing there like that,
Yeah.
Little mad kid with a quiff.
Yeah. You had a quiff.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I had my hair cut by my mum a couple of days before, and it was literally one of them, put a jelly bowl on your head and cut round it. But I kept moving. Imagine what the photo was like. You'll never ever see it on the walls in this house.
If you look at that photo, look at that little child running down the steps.
Yeah.
That great.
Yeah.
Just enjoying themselves. I love that. It's a cracking photograph, that. And the brightness, the lights, everything of the water. I think that's great. Great photograph, that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Beautiful.
And what that is, I'll tell you something now. And I'm pleased to say that I was the one, or, I'll say just me, that saved that from being demolished. Did you know that? And what
Yeah.
it is, it's the Collegiate in Shore Street.
Yeah.
It's the Collegiate in Shore Street. And I was working up at Hope University, and I got wind that they were going to pull it down. And because there was a terrible fire in there, and it gutted it. I believe it was arson myself.
Yeah.
Definitely arson. And anyway, he was wanting to pull it down to put flats there. Flats. New flats. Now, on the opposite sides of there, and when you walk down, you've got wonderful Georgian buildings. So the flats would have been totally out of character.
Yeah.
Totally out of character. So when they were on, yeah, we'll pull it down. I went down, seen a couple of councillors. And I said, do you know the history of this place? And they went, well, it's gutted. It really needs to come down. I said, no. I said, you're forgetting the history behind it. Then I told them about the old boys. The likes of Leonard Rossiter went there. Brian LeBone went there. Billy the Butler went there.
Yeah.
Billy Butler. I said, these are significant people. Who, old scholars who went there.
Yeah.
I said, but the most important thing about this building, the most important, I said, was the architect. And he said, who was it? And I mentioned the fella's name. And he says, who's he? And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that they didn't know who it was. When I said it's Harvey Lonsdale Elms, and they said, well, who's he? Why is he important? I said, as he was building that in 1842, when it opens its doors, he entered a competition and he won it to build St. George's Hall. And he went, oh. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And as I mentioned last week, I think, Anthony, they wanted to pull down the Lyceum.
Yeah.
Very recently. How can you do that? How can you do that? Please, how can you do that?
I'm just looking at the incredible detail in the architecture and design and build of that.
Oh, it's fantastic. Look at it, yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, anyway, never got pulled down, as you know, and they went in. Now the flats, so they had to refurbish everything in the flats. And when I was working for Liverpool One, the historical consultant, one of the architects, he only got it, he bought one of the flats, and I went in, and it was nice, quite nice.
Yeah.
It was quite nice.
Yeah.
It had a mezzanine floor, He bought one of the cheaper ones, he said, because he said, I won't be staying here, I'll just put it on the market when I'm leaving.
Wow.
So, it did go in there, very nice. But as you said about the detail in the architecture, it's fantastic, the detail in it. Harvey Lonsdale Elms.
Did it take you back, Frank?
What do you mean?
School times, because you went to school there, didn't you?
No, I didn't go to school there. I went
Oh,
to a posh school, just like that. That's posh, you see. I went to St. Francis up in Wilton. I agree. Oh, yeah, I said that. And Gary says they were going to demolish the collegiates. They are so stupid. There was a fire in the Florence Institute as well. Glad they said. Yeah, I was asked there by Tom something Bank to help them to save it, the Florence Institute, and you know, I had a few words and at some functions and meetings and Tommy Calderbank, yeah, Tommy Calderbank. Thank you, Gary. Yeah. Do you know what he's just mentioned, Tommy? I'm sorry, Gary Rigby.
yeah, the Florrie, yeah.
Tommy sent for me. I didn't know the lads, Anyway, shook hands with him. And he said, "Is there any way, you can help it?" I said, "Yes, sure, no problem." And he brought me in, and on the side of the Florence was a massive plaque. And it was dirty, it was damaged, metal it was. And it has all the names of boxers and footballers, of the Florence Institute.
Yeah.
And I looked like that and I went, well, because I know something about about the First World War.
Yeah.
And these lads, the boxers from the Florrie and footballers, there was lots of mates. There was brothers, there was cousins. They all knew each other from both sets of, the football and the boxing.
Yeah.
And on the 1st of July 1916, at the first Battle of Ypres, those lads were wiped out because they were in the Liverpool Pals.
Oh.
That's why that plaque was up there. I said, you've got to bring that down to get it restored at the Liverpool Convention Centre, which then was in Whitechapel. And they closed that fucking down as well. I'm sorry for swearing, but they closed that down, which is absolutely ridiculous. And it's so sad, that they closed these things down. I love the old museums on William Brown Street, says Bella.
Yeah.
I used to go in there, Bella, when I was a little mad kid, going to school, St. Joey's School. And I used to bunk off school and I used to go into the art gallery, the Walker, and then next door into the library. And that's where I studied as a kid, just a little mad kid. Me and my mate, who was, he's dead now, but he's the lad I mentioned who died when he was 24.
Oh.
And it was so sad, We used to bunk and go in there and read. I used to read about Caesar, Montgomery, Napoleon, Nelson, all these wonderful men of military. Thanks for that. Gary, mate. Tommy Calderbank, lovely fella. And Jason says the collective term for a group of city planners is, what's wrong? He's got mad. Jason's got mad. He's telling jokes and he's swearing now.
But I kind of agree with that. Of course, you can't deny that, can you?
I wonder if he needs sectioned. Poor Jason. I think he's trying to get himself sectioned because he's coming down to me to do work. He's got to do a little job for me, when he's taking it up. And he's got a cold, He's got a chat. I was talking to him last night, and he was coughing and spluttering. And I said, "Don't go into work." I said, because you won't do your work properly. So whether he stayed off, I don't know. But he sounded really bad. You know what I mean?
Well, he's on phone tonight.
Yeah, I just said to him last night, I said, honestly, Jay, I won't keep you long because I needed to talk to you. And we were on the phone for 2.25 hours. And he said, I thought, he was really coughing. And no, we weren't. Only on the phone a couple of minutes. Anyway, Gary says, do you remember the library? Yes. And the Mount Vernon pub? Yeah. Sadly, all gone.
Yeah.
As well. Should have been saved. Yeah, remember the library. Right in the corner. Yeah. It was what you call a flat iron. Yeah. It's what you call a flat iron. I went on both sides like that. And yet the Vernon pub. Yeah.
Stood the test of time. And then until.
Yeah. But then again, you say, once the neighbourhood, diminishes and the pub's no good, it's just...
No.
And that's the way it is. That's the way the economy goes.
Yeah.
You can't keep things open, that is not thriving or trying to survive. It's like the 12th Man by Anfield and the Stanley. And they just depend on every season, football season. Then once the football season's over, it closes. It closes. It closes. I just want to get this picture up here. There you go, there's the library.
Oh.
There's the pub over there. So sad, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
That's totally changed there now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's why I think that's why it's such a wonderful jolt to visitors coming back to Liverpool, certainly on the boats, on the cruise ships and stuff, because what they remember is gone, and there's glass houses everywhere, but they have a strong attachment to our beloved Three Graces. You see the liver buildings, and then it's like, wow, the home.
I remember a beautiful pub at the end of Scotland Road as well, with big pillars up Everton Brow End. God, blimey, you're going back, aren't you? I forget the name of it. Unfortunately. But I know the one. You met. Oh, what was it? Wasn't the Kings? Oh, I forget the name of it, Gary. Oh, sorry about that, mate. And oh yeah, that's when we showed the library. Oh yeah, brilliant photos. So many memories of that area. Geriatric. Love this name. Geriatric. Oh, brilliant. And he says, I installed a fire alarm in Central Library in 1994. Had to put detectors in the boiler house, but we couldn't turn it off. It's never been to go away.
Ah,
And mad, that, isn't it? That's mad. The fire alarm. I love the Central Library. It's got great memories of
yeah,
when I was a kid,
yeah,
right up to when I was studying. And even now today, every time the Audubon book, for example,
yeah,
um, I love that. I love going into the Roscoe room. And when you see the Audubon book, when you look at, when you come out and you look around the Roscoe room, it's fantastic. The balustrades, everything, the woodwork. And then you go in and you just look around, it's like a big amphitheater where everybody's studying.
yeah. It is.
Fantastic. I just love it, I used to love bringing people in there. And they couldn't get over some of them, it was the first time that they'd ever been in, Anthony.
Yeah, that must be absolutely um, jaw-dropping the first time you walk in there.
Yeah, it
You
is, Go on, sorry.
It's, because once you walk into the Roscoe, the picture library, up that staircase, wow, you're in a different time zone.
Yeah. And Gary said, I was hoping you'd know that. Don't worry, I'll find out for you, Gary. Okay. I promise you, I'll find out for you. But I forget it, honestly. But I know what you mean. And I don't know where, I know Paul McCartney, the bottom of the valley. God, blimey. Are you thinking about the one at the bottom of the valley? I think you are. You are. You're not Everton Brown, but the valley. Um, and I can't, for the life of me, I can't think of it. But I will find out. I didn't know it. But Paul McCartney, you must know this, Anthony. Paul
Yeah.
McCartney took these, they knew that it was coming down, the bottom of the valley. And he took the tiles. There was all these beautiful green tiles. And he had them taken off carefully. And he's got them all. I don't know what he's done. Obviously, he's done something with them in one of his homes. McCartney.
I know his dad's family of Everton, with Everton based, and it means his family means a great deal to him. Wow.
He lived in Solver Street. Well, he didn't, his family did. His granddad lived in Solver Street. And I get a phone call from New York one day. And this fella was, typical New Yorker. And he said, do you know anything at all about Paul McCartney's grandparents? I said, what? I said, he had two grandparents. He said, his granddad, who lived around, and he mentioned the Everton there. I said, oh, yeah. He said, do you know anything about him? I said, yeah. I said, he lived up in a place called Solver Street. He said, it's still there. I said, yeah, but the houses have gone what he grew up in. They're all new homes now. And I said, there was a little bandstand there. And his granddad used to have a clarinet, and there used to be a little band, and they used to play every weekend in the bandstand. And he was amazed. Do you know who it was? He was asking. Do you know, and I started talking about his uncle, because he was only young, this fella. And I started talking about his uncle. I said, how's he getting on? He said, listen, he said, you know, we haven't got much time. He said, can I talk about the Beatles? I said, well, how's your uncle getting on? Do you know who it was? Mark Spitz. Remember the fella who won 7 gold medals at, I think, the 72 Olympics?
God, what a legend.
It was his nephew. He was phoning up about the Beatles and Solver Street. Thank me, like he said, thank you, he said. He said, once you mentioned Solver Street, I knew that you knew something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jerry Theatrics, he's beautiful building. He's talking about the, I don't know what he's talking about that, or no, I think he means, you know, where he put the you know, everything in. The library, that is. And he says, yeah, the valley, I mean. Yeah, I knew you meant the valley because it was a beautiful, you know, it's as a pillars, you're quite correct. I will find out. I really will. I'll find out for you. Jesus. He's got it. Was it the Derby pub, the Derby Arms? Only one I can find with the pillars. Spot on, mate. Okay, he's got him, ain't he? Hey. There it is. It's the valley. It's the valley. And Paul McCartney has every tile taken off from the outside because they knew that it was coming down. There it is. There's the tiles.
Oh.
There's the he has all those tiles taken off. And whatever he's done with them, I don't know. And I'm talking, he got specialists to take all those tiles off.
Oh my God. That must have been his dad and his granddad's local then.
Yeah, it must have been. Must have been. Fantastic, that, isn't it?
What a beautiful pub that would have been, yeah.
Knocked down. You can't make it up because where the bus is, and you see the greenery there, that's Everton Valley going up. We used to go around there, you know, where I lived. We used to walk up Scotland Road, along either Scotland Road or along Great Solmer Street and just go up the valley to the game. Always did that. Me and James Allen. So now you know.
Yeah.
So now you know, Gary. It was the Derby's. It was the Derby Arms, but, you know, it's just known as the Derby.
Brilliant, Jason. Thank you.
Because it's the area of Lord Derby. That's great, that, Jay. Thank you, mate. He's good, isn't he?
It's the best.
Even with a cold. And Gary said, I don't know why I remember it, because I'm not from around there. That's it. How beautiful. There you go. That's why you remember it. Anything that catches your eye, no matter how young or old you are, you'll always remember.
Yeah,
And Gary, as he says here, hundreds of pubs gone. We'd be here all night, of course. Isn't that brilliant what Jason put up, though?
Yeah. Cheers.
And, you know, when you think that Paul McCartney took all those tiles,
You can understand how Gary would remember that. Even going past that on the bus would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
He could have been a kid on the bus. Could have been going anywhere, you know, with his mum or wherever. He could have been walking past as a kid or a very young man and going, wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Because if you're passing that, if you're a kid, you wouldn't even know it's a pub, especially if it's like just closed up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Without people going in and out. The valley.
Wow.
Well, I nearly got it right. I said the Kings, but it wasn't. It was the Derby Arms, Lord Derby spare area. Shall we have a quick break?
Yeah.
Because I haven't had it. I'll have to make a cup of tea.
Go and make a brew, yeah.
For people who have followed the Liverpool Unravelled series, here's a piece of Liverpool unnoticed. So you've lived in Liverpool all your life and you think you know your own city. Well, what if someone asked you to point them in the right direction for a little piece of Egypt? Where would you tell them to go? Well, right here is the little piece of Egypt when you look at this. We haven't only got one Sphinx, we have four, and they're right here on the grounds of Liverpool University. And imagine this, if Liverpool has its own parliament, this is the building I'd choose to represent Liverpool and its MPs. So come with me and have a look inside. If this was the Houses of Parliament and you were here on May the 11th, 1812, you would have heard two shots ring out. Bang, bang! There was deafening silence, and then chaos broke out. MPs started to realise that Spencer Perceval, the Prime Minister, had just been shot. Not only had been shot, he'd been fatally wounded. Two questions have to be answered. Why would anybody want to assassinate the British Prime Minister, Spencer Perceval? And second, who? Intellectuals like the poets Wordsworth and Blake really thought that this was the first shot of the revolution. Of course it wasn't, but there was one man who had a revolt against the British establishment, and in particular our British Prime Minister, Spencer Perceval. The assassin was John Bellingham of Duke Street, Liverpool. We have to go back in time to the events leading up to May the 11th, 1812, and that tragic day, because John Bellingham actually traded with Russia, and his Russian agent went bankrupt. And unfortunately for Bellingham, he was thrown into a debtor's prison here, where he spent a few months. On his release, he came out, but went straight over to Russia, where he ordered the Russian government to pay him compensation. Unfortunately for Bellingham, he was thrown in jail there. And on his release from there, he had this terrible, terrible angst against the British government, and in particular, Spencer Perceval. And when he got no joy at all from the British government, because he wanted to get compensation off them. And unfortunately for him, he was getting no compensation off anybody. He even wrote to the Prince Regent. Prince Regent wrote back saying, "I'm sorry, I can't help." So therefore, what Bellingham did, he acquired 2 pistols, and the plot manifested. Bellingham, on the 11th of May, 1812, went to the Houses of Parliament, and it was there that he jumped from behind a column as Spencer Perceval, the British Prime Minister, was walking down to take his seat, and he shot him. There were 2 local MPs who knew Bellingham. One was George Gascoigne, and the other, Bannister Tarleton. And it was they who apprehended Bellingham until he was arrested. Bellingham was tried and convicted of the crime and actually hanged at Newgate Prison exactly 1 week later on the 18th of May, 1812. We've only ever had one assassination of a British Prime Minister. Through sheer frustration and circumstance, Bellingham became the ultimate in political villainy by assassinating the British Prime Minister, Spencer Perceval.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bellingham.
Yeah.
Marvellous, isn't it? You know, like, he's the only British Prime Minister to be assassinated.
Yeah.
And do you know where his ancestral home was? In the White Mansion House in Calderstones Park.
Which
And they wanted to pull that down a few years ago.
Yeah.
And again I went, don't you know the historical significance of this? Why? What happened? No. I said, do you know a fella by the name of Bellingham? He went, no. I said, do you know Spencer Perceval? He said, no, who's he? I said, well, he was a British Prime Minister. And that was his ancestral home. And he went, well, you know. I said, listen, I said, he was assassinated, the only British Prime Minister to be assassinated by this fella, John Bellingham, from Duke Street.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all you get. I think they should know a little bit about history, do you?
I think they should, but even if they don't, they should have a historian with them. When they're doing a recce of, we're going to put a motorway there and knock that down, we're going to pull that down, we're going to pull that down, there should be a historian who's assigned to any council.
Yeah.
To be there.
I did a recce for Sean Bean, smashing fella Sean Bean, you know the actor.
Yeah.
There's a recce, and that's where you were going around, you know. He said, God, Brammy, you don't have to know a lot about your city, don't you? I said, yeah. He said, oh, thanks for that. I said, thanks for the little tour. We found a church. that we needed to get you over the recce. Anyway. But you're right there, there should be people going around, you know, historian, but the fucking historians need to know though, you know. I don't trust some people.
Yeah. Can't be anyone in the pocket of someone else.
No.
Got to be totally impartial. You can't touch that site because this.
Yes, exactly. Gary says that was Andy on the bus there, the 26, 27 route. You know when I mentioned the bus in Everton Valley.
Was he asleep? That'd be me. That'd be me.
He says, I was in there the other week. It's lovely. Oldest tree in Liverpool as well in Calderstones. Yeah. Yeah. You know, at least I've got my names down for saving some buildings. Saving some buildings. That was one of them. The White Mansion. But you're right about one of the oldest trees in Liverpool. Oh, Vera, you Vera? That was interesting. Never knew this. A year out to the day as my mum was born on the first anniversary. Go away.
Wow.
Isn't that lovely? Hiya, Vera. Good to see you. And CW says, even if Frank and Andy, hope you're both well. I've been in bed all day feeling, mate, sorry about that.
Got that leggy.
That's horrible. I hate colds, you know. That's why I'm going for the flu jab.
Go for it, Frank, yeah. No, I'm going to do the same.
Do you know what? I'll have to tell them about my elbow, you know.
Yeah.
They'll set me up for you know, x-rays and that. I haven't got any time. I can't have Francine waiting for me all bloody day. But I'll have to because my elbow's going worse. You know the pain?
Yeah. No, you gotta mention it. Of course you have.
Yeah, I'll have to. I'll have to. And Christopher says, sadly, the only thing they are interested in is the land and how much they can make. Spot on.
Yeah. Spot on. And I think that's true of life in general, Christopher. Sadly, yeah.
I'm just reading this. I mean, I'm sorry to change my glasses. Just reading this, I mean, I just got a little message. It's from King Charles, by the way.
Oh, okay. He's not falling asleep then, no.
Toscana. TW sends in your speedy recovery. Isn't that lovely? From Toscana.
Yeah.
That's lovely. Right, where are we? Back to these, eh? Look at that. No, look at the Chinese. That's the Chinese stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that unbelievable? And look at what and look at your drawing there.
God, yeah.
Fantastic. But isn't it great to see a Chinese in the drawing going well back then?
You know what, Frank? It fantastic, and it paints the picture, doesn't it? That
Yes.
um, they, they came as sailors
Yeah.
and built a community from that. Was that right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And your drawing, that's one of my favourite drawings of all time. That's where I grew up. That's my catchment area
Oh,
because it was in just off Scotland Road. Well, it is on Scotland Road. It's
yeah,
Byron Street,
yeah,
in all honesty.
on the railway bridge.
The railway there, yeah, by Fontenoy Gardens, yeah.
Oh,
Well, I just lived up from there in Jerry Gardens and Jerry Crescent.
that original is in Texas, and I would much rather it would be on your wall. But you know, there's plans. Yeah,
I'd love that on my wall. You wouldn't realise how much.
it's strange, isn't it? My mum used to tell me stories about that because they lived further up the Scotland Road. When they used to say that when they were kids, when they got to that, they knew they were nearly home. So the fact that it was still there, because I drew that in 25 years ago, 2000.
Was it? Really?
Yeah,
And it's in Los Angeles, did you say?
it's in Texas.
Texas. Ah, well, it's great there, you know what I mean? It is, I think it's wonderful that one of your drawings, and not a painting, but a drawing, a sketch, is actually on a wall in Texas, somewhere in Texas. I think that's beautiful, honestly. I really do. And the T says, thank you, Toscana, because she spent it.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, that was my playground there,
Yeah.
the Stebble Fountain. Now, people don't realise that, the Mersey has a beach. And that's where they used to repair ships. Because lots of ships that were out and about, doing trade
Yeah.
and coming in, there was lots of damage on them, masts, through winds and storms, came away. And that's where they had to be repaired until 1709, when a Dutchman by the name of Thomas Stairs came about. They sent for him. He was down in London. They said, hey, get up here. Can you do something for us? Because we had a hell of a lot of traffic on the Mersey, because this was an ideal place for trade.
Yeah.
Because of the sail.
Yeah.
And he came up and he built the very first wet dock. And it opens its lock in 1715. If you could imagine what that man did, which was absolutely amazing, with the tools that they had then. He dug deep. He wouldn't allow water in. He built a wall, massive wall. And Tony Snell and myself filmed it. And I went down. I had to go right down to the bottom of, the dock. And the size was enormous. The size of the dock was enormous, which is in Liverpool 1 now, Shabazz Park.
Yeah. Wow. What a fantastic picture that is. etching, drawing.
And the castle.
Yeah, yeah.
And the castle.
And I could so see that still being with us.
Yeah. Well, there was preservationists then. You see, I'm trying to figure out where exactly. Do you know where this is? Right. If you just go to the left tower, right, of the
Yeah,
castle,
yeah,
as you look at it, the left tower, and you come down that way, that's James Street. So where this, these two little boats are on the left, that's
yeah.
James Street. That's the bottom of James Street as we know today.
Wow.
And to the right of the tower, just a bit further right from it, is the law courts. Because right on that site of the castle is Victoria's monument.
Yeah,
But look at the housing there. Look at the house on the
no,
beach.
I know. I think it's brilliant. And Cornwall and Wales and so many other places in the country would still have that.
Oh yeah,
No.
oh yeah. Preservationists were saying, please don't pull down the castle. It was the first really structure built in Liverpool.
Yeah.
Knocked it down, as they do. Knocked it down. The old uni, that. My old uni. Do you know what? I used to go to lectures, and it was just between Sir Alfred's Waterhouse designed that. And it's a beautiful, beautiful building. And on the extreme right of it, where you've got that tower and you've got a gable end on the other end, the amphitheatre's there. Goes right around the tower to the gable end. And I've given a few lectures there myself. But now it's a museum. And what's in there are most magnificent things. I just get in there and have a look at it. Simply because you've got fantastic... there's even a dentist. They made up a dentist, from Victorian times. Oh, and the big chair. But the instruments are frightening you anyway. But they had. And also where the neutrons and the atoms and, all these little molecule things, were being experimented with.
Yeah.
And that's Sir James Chadwick. And Sir James Chadwick was called over to America during the Second World War. Because what they couldn't do, you see, the Americans, anyone, it doesn't have to be Americans, it could be anybody. And they were trying to split these little molecules up. And even the Germans, they were trying to do it with heavy water as well in Norway. That's why they got to Norway, to be honest. The heavy water, because they were trying to split the atom and everything. But the Americans couldn't do it. So they sent for a fella who worked in there who actually worked in there, one of the greatest physicists ever. And they brought him over to the most secret of all projects. And that was the making of the atom bomb. The unfortunate thing for the Americans, though, they couldn't split the atom. And someone mentioned Sir James Chadwick. They said, some fella in Liverpool is, he's mustard at it. Get him over. And he was brought over. No one could get into that Manhattan Project. Nobody. And he was allowed in. And he split the atom for them. It wasn't Oppenheimer. It was him. Sir James Chadwick. Our own James Chadwick. To this fella here, look. Queen Victoria's penis is on the right. Behave yourself. Do you know that clock tower?
Yeah.
It's a mosaic clock face.
Okay.
And the fella who designed it was Pietro Salvatini. And Sir Alfred Waterhouse sent for him. And he said, I want something different there. So he put in a mosaic clock. It's the only one. Well, there might be some more, I don't know now. But it was the only one in the world. The only one. Mosaic clock face. Anyway, what had happened was there was another fella by the name of George Grayson, and he seen what he was doing, this Salvatini. And when he got chatting to him, he said, listen, he said, would you do a job for me? And he went, yeah. Like, yeah, look at that.
Oh,
Isn't that magnificent?
that must be amazing when the sunlight hits it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Isn't that a magnificent picture?
Yes, absolutely, Frank. Yeah.
Close up.
Wow.
I've never seen that picture before. I've never even seen that how close it is.
Wow.
But you're right the way, when the sun shines on it, you see the glistening. It's all glistening, especially the fingers on the clock.
Yeah.
The
Like a
gold
thousand
fingers.
months. Yeah. Wow.
So this Salvatore, he says, yeah, all right. He said, what do you want doing? So he brought him down. And it was a building that he was just completing. And he said, can you do something? I've left it freeze. He said, can you put anything in there? He said, well, what is it? You know, what kind of building? And he said, it's a maritime insurance building. And he went, okay. And what you see, this is in Castle Street. And you see a mosaic frieze of the ships from 1207, you know, when we were there. But born Liverpool, if you like, with King John's Royal Charter. Right up to, at the time, was the Great Eastern. Yeah, look at that. There it is, that's what he's done. Mosaic again. Isn't that magnificent?
Yes, absolutely. Wow.
And on the left panel,
Just,
you've got the Great Eastern. Isambard Kingdom's Brunel's Great Eastern. And that was built there because no one went on the Great Eastern. They were terrified of it because, you know, they still had sail, but it was also a steamship. But all with the funnels and the smoke and the sparks coming out set fire to the sail. And people were terrified. The ship's going to burn. And they didn't even like metal. You know, it's metal. It's going to sink. So
Oh,
they just said, okay. So they built it up. And it became the transatlantic from Liverpool to America, laying the transatlantic cable. How about that?
that is just stunning, isn't it? Just,
So you've got that, haven't you?
yeah, the clock.
The clock. And you've got that, which is absolutely amazing. Hang on. Hang on, hang on, hang on.
Truly beautiful work. I hope we got paid for it.
Oh, I don't know whether it did. Well, I was a foreigner anyway. Gracie must have said, you fancy doing a foreigner? Yeah, I am a foreigner. I'm Italian. Already doing well. Yeah, we'll do another one down here. Fantastic, though. It's all mosaic, you know. Every bit, the ship, everything, the sea. It's unbelievable. Just shows you, doesn't it? You know, like even going back to Greek and Roman times when they did pictures and, you know, on walls, on floors, on everything, these mosaics. Fantastic. Just love it, you know, really do. Really do. You see these, you know, the way you see, you know, the lights of that, and look at that. Look at the storm. You see what I mean about stormy weather? Now look at that, you know, whoever was painting that was waiting for a storm, a squall. And look at the barrel and the Mersey. Look the way the that like smaller boat is being blown. You see, so if you could imagine, you know, a three-masted sailing ship, you know, laden with spices or whatever, like crossing the North Atlantic to get into Liverpool Bay, the storms that they were punished with. And that's why there was lots of damage.
Yeah.
Steve Mulholland said, Frank, have you ever noticed the sundial outside the World Museum? I actually donated some money for it. It's dedicated to the planetarium operator, Martin Suggett. No, I'm sorry to say, Stephen, I haven't. I haven't. Unfortunately. But if I'm ever down there, I will have a look for it. The World Museum.
Me too.
Sundial. Do you know, we mentioned, didn't we, about the great poets?
Yeah.
Our wonderful poets, you know, like Brian Patton and Roger McGough.
Yeah.
And do you know the fountain in Williamson Square, which they turned off, you know, it went up to the amazing arch.
Yeah.
And you see all the little mad kids running in and getting soaking wet, which was great. So they turned it off. Well, that water actually comes from the original pool because you can't get rid of a river. And that, you know, where Chapel Street, Whitechapel Street, Whitechapel Street, Whitechapel. Well, that's where the water is. So they were using the original water from the pool where we got our name from, which was great at the time because it was something original where we got our name from.
Yeah.
1207. Well, anyway, I don't know, the council wanted a poem, and there's a massive circle, and I contributed to it, me and Roger McGough. I mentioned something about the castle, forget what it was like, but you know, he did a line, I did a line, and I think he did most of the poem, to be honest. And I was asked to, said, yes, sure. So I put a line in. But I don't know, I just don't know anymore, you know, why they've stopped it. They said that it was breaking down all the time. You just tell them to piss off, because that's a load of nonsense. It's just breaking down all the time. But isn't that brilliant, that, you being an artist?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. We'll have to try and take some photos of it next time we're there.
Yeah. You'd never know what that is. Shall I tell you what that is?
Yeah, go on.
And you're going to like this. And it was something we were talking about last week. Remember Springfield Jack?
Yeah.
Well, that's the Hengless Circus.
Oh my word.
Now, the Hengless Circus, you know what it was? Do you know what stands there now?
No.
Municipal building.
Wow.
So they took that away.
The Herdman, didn't it?
Yeah, that's a Herdman. So that's the Hengless Circus.
Wow.
Yeah. And I got moved up then to the end of West Derby Road. There's a few other places there, but it ended up on West Derby Road. And that's why they built the Hippodrome.
Wow.
You know, the Hippodrome, you know, for performing arts.
Yeah.
Because just along the road, where you just go past the Grafton, as we know today, and the Locarno, you get to Shield Park, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, that was the very first zoological garden. Some say it was in Germany. No, it wasn't. It was there, a fella named Atkins. And he opened the very first zoological gardens in 1831. So you had the Hippodrome, you had the Hengless Circus, you had the zoological gardens, and you had Springfield Jack. Because Springfield Jack, as we said, you know, was a trapeze artist, an acrobat.
Circus performer.
Yeah, because he used to leap from roof to roof, getting into these posh places, especially down in London and here in Liverpool, and stealing jewellery and things, even churches. Used to break into churches as well. How about that?
Absolutely amazing. I love that. I love that attachment to history and the connection to now. But what on earth would we do without W.G. Herdman?
Well, I said when we were having a private conversation a few weeks ago, you know, there was no photographers around then. So we would have known nothing really what was happening in Liverpool without these wonderful pictures.
Yeah.
Look at the English Circus, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I think I'll go onto the map
Yeah,
and show you where it actually was. Is that okay?
of course.
Right, let's see. Let's see. Trying to find it here. Trying to find it. Come on. I'll get it. We'll get it. I just missed out. Oh, I just missed out. Oh, not a shame. Not a shame. Oh, I just missed out. But anyway, oh, that's a shame now. Oh. But when you look at that, Anthony, when you look at, you've got St. George's Hall there. You're starting to build up here, the other neoclassical buildings.
Yeah.
The other neoclassicals just there. And when you come down a little, this is the old Haymarket. That's where the Mersey Tunnel is today. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Now, imagine this. What they wanted to do, they wanted to put where this is, the Anglican Cathedral.
Yeah.
They wanted to put it there. Right? They just wanted to put it there. And what they were saying was, well, if you put this Anglican Cathedral, it'll look out of place with St. George's Hall and all the rest of the neoclassical buildings here. And also the mighty Wellington Monument. So it looked totally out of place.
Yeah.
Now, where's my thinking on it? Here's my thinking. If they were to put it there, right, where would they have put the Mersey Tunnel? Because they couldn't knock, put the Anglican there. They couldn't knock the Anglican Cathedral down, could they, to put the Mersey Tunnel there?
No. And you need to lead in with the traffic, so you need that space.
Yeah. And when you come to think about the engineering of the Mersey Tunnel, which went right down here, right underneath, believe it or not, right underneath Dale Street, going past the town hall, right down here, right underneath the Mersey.
Yeah.
And you don't think of that, do you? To come out of here and go down there.
No.
Right into the, underneath the docks.
There's thousands of skilled labourers that would have had to work on that.
Yes. Because Victoria's Monuments, which is here, that's the church they built when they pulled the castle down, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Now, you see this building here?
Yeah.
Right, that's a grand building now. And that was still there today. I think it's becoming a restaurant, bar, whatever it is. And that was the first Bank of England outside London. Because if you think about it, our businessmen up here said, oh, sod this, going down to Threadneedle Street. Let's build our own Bank of England. And he went, you can't do that. He said, we can. And they did. They did. They got a Professor Sir Charles Cockerell in to build it. Now, Professor Sir Charles Cockerell, when Harvey Lonsdale Elms died, he finished this off, St George's Hall, because Elms died 7 years before the completion. So, and as this was built in 1846, so he designed this as he was working on that.
Yeah.
That's St. John's Church, that one. And that came down in 1896. And that was where the gardens are now today.
Yeah.
It was just a cemetery. That's all it was. And I keep mentioning this. Around here, this is where I grew up. And that's the church, St. Anne's Church, and that has a cemetery. Now, as little mad kids here playing football and whatever, the cemetery, it was flattened and it had green grass. So we used to go and play football on there rather than the concrete in the square. And one of my heroes was buried there. And little did I know that he was buried there. But I don't know what's happened to us. Obviously, they dug everything up and whatever. When the church was knocked down, the graveyard gone. And his name was Wyndham Sadler, the first man to cross an expanse of water. Because no one had crossed an expanse of water. And he did it on the 18th or the 15th or 18th of April, 1817. Crossing expanse of water from Dublin to Liverpool.
And what I love about that story that you told us is he's kind of doing it for his dad, wasn't he?
Yeah, he did it for James, because James was the very first, I'm sorry there, people, in a balloon. Because his dad, with the French doing it, the Montgolfier brothers, in 1774, he said, listen, I've got to try this. So, do you know, we had it was called the Liverpool Gas Company or something like that. Or something like that. But anyway, it was a gas company on the Mersey.
Yeah.
And that's where he used to blow. He worked there, and he used to blow the balloon up there and used to go up. So he became, in 1784, the very first British aeronaut. And he always tried to go from Liverpool to Dublin. He tried for years until he just said, I can't do it. I'm too old now. And his son, Wyndham, said, I'll do it for you, Dad. I'll do it. And what he did, rather than looking at the charts that his dad was looking at, he turned them upside down and said, well, look, he said, the wind keeps coming this way, and the currents and whatever. He said, so I'll try from Dublin. Rather going from Liverpool to Dublin, I'll go from Dublin to Liverpool. And he did it.
Wow.
He did it in April 1817.
Was his dad still with us? His dad?
Yeah, he finally seen it. You know what his son did, which was a great achievement. But unfortunately, Wyndham was killed in 1823 over the Lancashire moors, and that's where he was buried. That's where he was buried, in this churchyard here,
Right.
known as the gravy. We used to call it the gravy because it was a graveyard.
Yeah.
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah.
And when you look at that, I'm trying to get it more thing. The detail on this is magnificent, isn't it?
It is mind blowing.
Magnificent. Now, that was the fish market, St.
Oh,
John's Fish Market. And the facade here was absolutely magnificent.
wow.
And they pulled that down instead of saving the facade. You're talking John Foster Sr., who designed all this. Because what you've got there now, today, is the Royal Court.
Yeah.
Right there. Right there.
And
Right on the corner there.
you talked to us a couple of times about the area which housed the Japanese community.
Oh, yeah.
That's not too far from there, is it?
No, I'll show you it. I just want to, that particular row of,
Yeah.
do you know what they were? They were hotels then. And they became the fruit market. You know, when you can actually see signs. I've got a picture here somewhere. And you see the Star Hotel. And it's an actual like fruit market, you know, because that became the fruit market. That's where all the fruit came and the veg into there, because the hoteliers left. Because right here, they built a very posh hotel called the Stork Hotel.
Yeah.
The Stork Hotel.
Yeah.
Magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. I'm trying to find a theatre. And I found it. And there it is, right there. And that particular theatre there,
Yeah.
it's like roundish, which it was actually. And that was the Theatre Royal. And that's where Charles Dickens, believe it or not, he was an amateur. He was an amateur actor. Lots of people don't know that. And he performed there.
Yeah.
He actually performed it. Right, what was you saying before?
Yeah, I was just talking in that area, in that vicinity. You talked about the Japanese quarter, the Japanese area.
Going to show you where they lived. Going to show you where they lived.
And these two, like the Chinese community, were essentially sailors. Is that right, Frank?
Yep. Yes. Right. You've got that's Islington there. This is London Road. London Road, right?
Yeah.
When you go up to London Road, it's around here that the Japanese lived, because this particular place here became hang on, gotta get this spot on. I don't know whether it was there or here. Forgive me, I'm not quite so sure. That's East Prescott Road.
Yeah.
No, let me get this right. Yeah, it was around here that the Japanese lived. That's where they lived. And they, say like here, you've got the Bull Ring,
Yeah.
Gill Street. You've got the Bull Ring there. That's mad, isn't it?
Wow.
Absolutely. But look at the detail of this, Anthony. Just look at the detail.
Stunning. The trees, the buildings, everything.
Now, there's Lime Street Station. And do you ever remember me telling you about the colonnade?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's the colonnade there, look. See, magnificent arches.
Yeah.
Right, there's an arch, there's an arch, there's an arch. All the columns. There's an arch. Columns. Big arch there, more columns going right along. So if you could imagine that being there today, right outside Lime Street Station, a big Greek colonnade.
Just, yeah, I could imagine it. Beautiful.
And he pulled it down. There you go. Look, Jason.
Oh, thanks, Jay. Oh,
Look at that. See, that went right along from the edge of Lime Street Station right towards London Road. Stopped at London Road. Magnificent. And do you know what colour stone it was? The same stone as St. George's Hall today. Wouldn't that be magnificent? It wasn't covered or not, it was just a colonnade.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely would be. Wow.
It's so sad, isn't it? It's so sad, you know what? What we had and what we haven't got today.
It's fashion. People, oh, that's old. We'll take that. We're going to put this up. It's like, wow.
Well, I had something that I can't find. I've been looking for it for yonks, but I have got it somewhere. Let me show you something. Right. So you've got all the neoclassical stuff that goes right down here, right?
Yeah.
Which is beautiful, stunning, absolutely stunning, right? You've got the St. George's Hall there, everything. Now, what they wanted to do with all the neoclassical buildings there, they wanted to carry on, you know. They wanted to carry on and go along here, down here, and up there, right up there, and end here. And you should have seen what they were going to build. I'll try and find it. I know I have it, and it's unbelievable. You should see it. And see, you know, like these visionaries then, they had the vision of a massive Roman forum.
Yeah.
The Duke of Wellington's column here would have been the epicenter of it. Because as I said, the neoclassicals come from here. Because they hadn't been built yet. Some had here. But that would have come right down here, right across there, and up there, and ended here, right on the corner of Lime Street, round about here.
Wow.
And the buildings were absolutely amazing. what they wanted to do. I have got it somewhere. And it wasn't built. For some reason, don't know why. Oh, lovely, Lynn. Evening, Frank and Anthony and everyone in chat. Hiya, Lynn.
Good evening, Lynn. Hope you're well.
Just love this pic.
Yeah.
And Lynn says that on Lime Street would have really stood out more than they have today.
Yeah.
So that's it, mate, for tonight.
Oh, thank you, Frank.
There it is. Jason, thank you. Oh, look at that. I've got a colour version. Look at that there, look. Look.
Yeah.
Look at that. That was gone, as I said, right around. You know, from the bottom of, say,
Yeah.
right across from.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain them, but and these buildings here, all these buildings, look at that. That's an incredible building. And this tower, and look at the big tower there.
Yeah.
Magnificent tower. See the lions there? Do you see how close it was?
Yeah. That would blow London away, that. Just.
Oh, thanks, Jay. Thanks, mate. Look at it. And have you noticed on St. George's Hall there? Have you noticed the frieze?
Yeah. The original.
That's why. That's why I've always said it's uncompleted. It's not completed because the frieze was there in 1854 by a fella named Nickel. And fuck.
Ended up in a skip.
Yeah. It ended up as rubble for a fucking road. Toscana. Buonanotte, Franco, Anthony, and chats for another wonderful night. Thank you, Bella. Thank you so much, sweet.
Bella. Thank you.
And there it is, that frieze.
Oh, man, that's just...
Isn't that shocking?
Yeah.
And they took it down. He said, oh, he needs a repair and cleaned. Oh. And there was a lad named Martin Foote. And he works in Florence. Great architect, great sculptor. He's unbelievable. And he said, I can do one. Shipping, insurance, everything. Put it up for £2 million, but it'll be made of marble. The exact replica. And he went, it's too dear. I tried to get him the commission. So is that okay tonight?
That was fantastic, Frank. Loved it. Thank you. Once again, you know, Herdman propped up the things we could only imagine.
Yes. Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's surprising, isn't it? You know, we look at what we've had and what's gone. You know, from the Greek colonnade going right along Lime Street.
What we nearly had as well.
Oh. And what was going on St. John's Lane.
Yeah.
Should have seen. Honestly, I've got a coloured print of it, and I will find it at some point, and I'll show you, and you'll go, wow, wow. Okay, so I just want to thank our wonderful sponsors who are Gap Painting Services. They sponsor all the Frank Carlyle podcast, fully time saved, fully insured, 5-star customer ratings, everything. And if you're an NHS worker and elderly, just get them in. Please get them in. You get special discounts. And, you know, if you don't fit into those categories, all you've got to do is phone them up and they'll give you the price of what you want to without any obligation. And that's Gap Painting Services. Don't struggle. Get them in. Get them in. The vlogs. What did they actually do to that, Frank? Destroy it? They destroyed. If you're talking about the Greek colonnade, yes, they did. They just pulled it down for no apparent reason. And the excuse was always for the, the hotel that's facing St. George's Hall. Right. Still there today. Beautiful building. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. By Sir Alfred Waterhouse, one of our great architects. However, it could have, they didn't have to pull it down because that would have been ideal. I'll show you what I mean. Do you mind? No?
No.
Hang on. Yeah. Because here, hang on, let me just take this down. There's the Greek colonnade. Let me get it up again. That's the Greek colonnade. There's London Road. There's the Greek colonnade going right along there. That's the Empire Theatre. Or, well, it's not the Empire Theatre, but it was a theatre. They pull that, pull that down. And they only had to build right there the wonderful, it's become a hotel back again now today, facing St. George's Hall. That's all he has to do, just that. And the Empire Theatre just built it there. But no, they said, oh, this needs to go, which is a load of nonsense, to build that. And they didn't have to. They just didn't have to, Anthony. Unfortunately. So if that's what you mean, I don't know where my little cloud here is. If that's what you mean, vlogs. Mark Simons. Well, at least the colour was going back at the tunnel's entrance. Okay? Great show, fellas. Good night. God. Oh, isn't that lovely? Thank you, Mark. Yes, that's going back. Should never have come down in the first place. If they did, then all I can say is, what's wrong? We've been saying it all night, vlogs. And as we said before, these people should learn history. But the city planners, they're not from here, they're from outside. And they just say, oh, get shut of that. Toscana, Grazie, buonanotte, Franco, Anthony, Jason, and chatters. Thank you for another very informative evening about my favourite city.
Thank you, Toscana. That's yeah.
Great show. Sorry I was late. Don't worry, Lynn. Just don't worry. Just glad that you're here. Johan. Thank you, Frank, Anthony, Jason, and everyone. Take care. Good night.
Good night, Johan. Thank you.
That's our mate, Johan.
Yeah. So you've got your kit on for tomorrow night. You got your football show.
No, I'm not going to have one. Not having one. I don't know what to have, you know. I don't know whether to have a night off or
Good.
do some history. What do you think?
Whatever suits you, Frank.
Do you know what I'd like to do? You know what being spoiled last week? How about this? How about this? If you're up for it.
Yeah. You mean our literature one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night and on Wednesday night. Double header.
Double header. Okay. No, that's great.
You don't mind?
I don't mind. I'm Frank. You know, I'm honoured to be a passenger with you.
So we'll do the history of literature.
Yeah.
But that's all we'll do. Nothing else. No football. No nothing. And we'll be talking a hell of a lot about history of literature. The literature coming in. The visionaries from Shakespeare to H.G. to Jules Verne. You know, you've got to bring in.
Yeah.
You've got to bring in. Who's our favourite artist of all time?
Leonardo.
Yeah, you've got to bring him in. It's incredible.
He's so is absolutely fitting on every subject. You know. I was reading about him today, and I told you he was a musician. So I thought maybe a guitar player, but the guitar hadn't been invented then. But he did play a version of a guitar, and he has got sketchbooks full of musical instruments that he'd drawn and imagined.
Oh.
Yes. A visionary.
Well, they only had lutes then, didn't they? You know, these little lutes.
Yeah. Yeah, they were still kind of medieval with all of that stuff, yeah.
Like Will Scarlett going around singing to Robin and his merry men.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should everybody Brooke,
Yeah. Yeah, with his lute.
Robin and his merry men.
Yeah.
You know the way he put a different slant on it. Robin and his merry men.
Fried chocolate, all the pies. It was starving here, Friday. Any sign of any food? No, I haven't seen any.
Hey, Robin, what? They all seem merry over there, don't they? All the men over there, they're all merry. Can you imagine Robin going, behave yourself? What's his name? Oh, it's Will Scarlett. Can you get some other guests like you have had in the past, Derek, etc.? Yeah, we'll have them on one at some point. Yeah, look at that. Jeez.
Yes.
Leonardo could have just invented the guitar, then formed a band. He could have done easily.
Could have done easy. He played and sang. Yeah,
Did.
absolute
Believe
legend. We love him.
that. I'll see you tomorrow night.
All right, Frank. Great one. See you at 7
And
bells.
we won't all like just jump in to the, what we were talking about. We will spread it out over the 2 nights.
Yeah.
Because really, I want to talk about Dickens. I really want to talk about H.G.
Yeah.
I really do. And Orwell, things like that. I think it'll be fantastic.
Because both of them are current today.
And the vlogs. Boss, the History Triple Header might as well take a break from footy as it's done already. Anyways, yes. That's why I'm not. What can you talk about vlogs? I'm not talking about football. We're not playing until for another 2 weeks, so I'm not going into all details about what we should have done, what was this, and what's wrong with that. So that's what I will be talking about. This history. Thank you so much, Anthony.
Thank you, Frank, as ever. Great night.
And he says there, the vlogs. Thanks, Frank and Anthony.
Thanks, vlogs.
And I shall see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just got to thank Jason.
Yes, absolutely.
Who's putting these things up was fantastic. Thank you, Jason.
Right on the ball.
But who are the most important people?
Our wonderful family of chatters.
Yes. Because without them, there'd be no
show.
There you go. Simple as that. So it's just for me to say, people, I hope to see you, some of you tomorrow night. And as Jason says, thanks, gents. Thanks, all. And I'll leave you with what he said.
Brilliant to have you with us.
I'll see you tomorrow night, mate. Thank you.
Good
Thank
night.
you, people. See you tomorrow, some of you at least. Thank you.